Hey,
How you doing, Sean? Hood Rubino, Devil's Digest. I know that going into the Oregon State game, it was all about playing for the seniors, and from a mental, perspective, probably didn't go as well as you wanted it to go. How do you pick this team off the mat, so to speak, mentally, for playing for a game that just has just as much pride this week as it did last week, for different reasons, but still measure of pride?
And I told them today this is a one game season right here, and it's this game probably means more to them and the state of Arizona more than anybody really imagines, and so they understand that. We had to come back from yesterday and a quick turnaround on Monday, and they had a good practice out there, but they're focused. There is no time to worry about what happened. We didn't even worry about what happened on Saturday. We're just moving forward. I spent probably about 5 or 6 minutes this morning, and the video department did a great job explaining the why of this territorial, because we have so many transfers that come in. They talk about the Territorial Cup, but they don't know the reason why and the history. And so we spent about 5 to 6 minutes just watching a video of the history of the Territorial Cup, so those guys can understand exactly what we're playing for.
Sean, Chris Cartman, Son of a Source. When you have a day less, what does that do as far as compressing your preparations and game planning? And what's that been like in the last day and a half?
Yeah, the Sunday, coaches didn't get out here till probably 1 o'clock in the morning. We have to. Usually we have that Monday to game plan the weekend and get ready in script practice for Tuesday. That didn't happen last night. We had our Ohana dinner and we had a Letterman's jacket giveaway, and then we went straight back to work. And so we're here and with a little sleep and condensed our practice a little bit. Just went with helmets and not full pads because there's still the bumps and bruises from Saturday. But tomorrow we'll go about being in full pads and a regular Wednesday practice.
And so what are your thoughts about Arizona, just their schemes or their personnel?
They have a dangerous quarterback, a quarterback that kind of quarterback we faced the whole year. We got to contain him in the pocket. They're going to probably throw the ball 40, 50 times. He makes great off-schedule throws, and we're going to have to make sure that our eyes don't get dirty and we keep a hand on the receivers and watch our man. And so there's a lot of things that we have to do defensively to keep him contained. And then offensively, we have to make sure that we can run the football on him, make those conversions on third down and not be 1 yard short on 3 of them. But all of those things to extend our series and play fundamental football.
Michael, then Michelle.
Coach Michael Caratino, Sideline Sports.
Hey,
When
Mike.
you look at obviously the energy in practice since you took over, they've had it, and sometimes may have seen it transferred over on the field. But coming into obviously this game and this rivalry game, how do you feel that the team has responded to you up to this point and have just kept their positivity and energy up?
Yeah, today we had great energy out there. It all lands on the coaches, and the kids will follow what the coaches do. And so I asked our coaches from the transitions, from the warm up, from the stretch. You got to be on it every single day. I know you guys got 3 hours of sleep, but shoot, we got to get ready to go. And so it depends what the coaches are going, and the kids will follow. And today we had a good practice.
And then when you look at, obviously, like talking about running the ball against Arizona, it looks like teams have had success about that. I mean, what's the balance of obviously wanting to run it, but still mixing in the pass plays, keeping them off balance?
Absolutely. When you run the football, then explosives come off the play action pass. And we have not had the explosives that I would have liked the last couple of games. But one of our best players is our running back, and we're going to get him the football as well and see if they can stop him. We've been successful running the football, and we'll keep doing that. But then we will have to make plays down the field and have probably between 12 and 15 explosives in order to keep up, because they have a really good offense that they score a lot as well. And so we're going to have to keep up and try to dominate them from an offensive standpoint.
Michelle, Brad, and Jordan.
Hey, Michelle.
Coach, going back to letting these guys know what this is about if they haven't been in this rivalry, have you leaned on guys like Soley, Hatch, Trent that kind of know that? Or have you brought in any former players to kind of talk to the team in the last few days?
Yes, we did at our Letterman's jacket last night. Juan Roque came in and spoke. Kevin Manyfield came and spoke. Gene Boyd spoke. And so I'm bringing in alumni, what this game means to them. But a lot of times, I sat back last night before I came in this morning and thought, do these kids really understand what it is? And so I had to give them a little educational lesson today, and I thought it worked out because they were engaged and watched it and kind of understand now what this Territorial Cup means.
And do you think that obviously it gets you guys motivated again when maybe after last week spirits were a little down and you shouldn't have trouble getting up for this one?
You shouldn't. You never know kids nowadays, but it is our job to make sure that that happens and bring the intensity every day at practice. We will have a Thanksgiving dinner together, and that will be our last time. And so it's about holding these guys together. We talked about playing to the last whistle, and sometimes subconsciously you say, well, you play to the last whistle, that's enough for the game. You did your best, but shoot, we want to win and dominate from the beginning. And so that's the mindset that we're going to take this week.
Hey.
Brad, Jordan, Luke, and other Jordan.
Hey, Sean, Brad, Denny 3 TV,
Hey, Brad.
CBS 5. The last 3 weeks, the defense has given up a total of 43 explosive plays, and now you're going up against one of the more explosive offenses in the entire country. What are some of the things you've identified as some of the reasons that the defense has been gashed so often, and some of the fixes that you're going to implement on Friday?
You know, we haven't, I don't think, contained the quarterback like we should have. And then when they're making off-schedule throws, we are having dirty eyes looking in the backfield, looking at the quarterback. I think sometimes we're playing a little too soft, to tell you the truth, and not coming up and competing, especially, you know, there's a 3rd and 14, knowing everybody in the stadium knows it's good, they're going to run it at the sticks, and we're in bail technique. And so it's just things from an understanding standpoint, but we have to get better in containing the quarterback. We have to get better at coming up and competing, and we have to get better at just being more physical from a defensive standpoint.
And on that note of kind of playing off a little bit, that's something that Jordan Clark mentioned after the Washington State game. And is that something that you and Donnie have mid-game conversations about? Kind of being a little more aggressive or playing up a little bit more?
Yeah, and you know, it's situational. Of course, you don't want to get beat over the top in those long situations because that hurts you. But you got to understand from a conceptual standpoint what they're trying to do on the offensive side, and then come and compete for it. Sometimes I don't think we come up and compete using our football intelligence.
Jordan?
Hey, Coach Jordan Ham,
Hey,
Sports
Jordan.
360 AZ. You mentioned containing the quarterback. Jaden DeLora is very good at getting on the outside and kind of being a little bit slippery. Can you take anything from the game last year against Washington State to try to apply this year, even though it's a different team?
Yeah, you know, we of course they played last week, and so we have all the film, and so we're working on ways in practice from a drilling standpoint, from the cage techniques and making sure that we're taking the right angles on outside shoulders. You know, a lot of times defensive linemen get so aggressive that they take wrong angles, and they're not as athletic as the quarterback, and they think they are. But you know, sometimes they're taking wrong angles on inside shoulders, and the quarterback gets outside of them when their job is to contain and let others help. And so it's about doing your job and making sure that we contain the quarterback and then put pressure on him.
Coach Luke Liddon here with 12 Sports.
Hey, Luke.
Season's coming to a close. Not over yet, obviously,
Yes.
but it's coming to a close. So I'm curious, from the moment you took over as interim head coach to now, what do you think you've learned the most that you can take with you moving forward?
You know, inspiring the kids has not changed. You know, and I look back and you look back at the past 9 weeks, and 9 weeks are, have you left this place or continue to leave this place in a better spot, especially internally, from an accountability standpoint, for caring for the kids and all of that. And I can go to sleep knowing that I did that. And you know, we've done our best job with the hand we're dealt. You know, I can go to sleep and you know, hopefully this moving forward, I'm still confident that Arizona State can be a really good football team.
And when you think about the Territorial Cup and what it means to both sides, how much pressure do you feel, if any at all, and how do you manage that pressure amongst yourself, the staff, and perhaps the student athletes as well?
Yeah, a win, especially in this Territorial Cup, there is pressure on a head coach, you know, from the standpoint that, you know, everybody's watching. There's pressure to win, but I embrace that. I mean, that's just the game of football, and I've been doing this for a long time. Do I feel anxiety and my stomach turns before? Heck yeah. It's just the same way that I played football. And so, and if I didn't that, then trust me, I'd been on the golf course golfing and home with the wife and kids. But I embrace this. I look for that challenge, and now it's my chance to inspire these kids to play for this Territorial Cup, and we're excited.
Jordan, Robbie, Richard, Michelle.
Hey, Coach Jordan Spurgeon,
Hey,
Sports
Jordan.
360 AZ. I'm curious if you had a chance to see it yesterday or if your players brought it up to you, but there was the A Mountain. It was painted blue and red. You talked a little bit about the history. What were your thoughts on seeing that?
Trust me, we did. 2 days ago, they painted it red, and I made sure that our kids saw that. I also made sure that our kids saw a little scuffle on the sideline and all of those things that don't need to do. And so anything that I can use from an advantage. We played the Arizona fight song today during a stretch that they weren't happy about, and that's good. And so there's a couple things from a engagement standpoint and motivational standpoint that I like to throw in, but they really need to know that we just need to execute at practice. But I'll throw those little tidbits this week just to keep it interesting.
And doubling down on that, too, just now that they know the history, especially the transfers or maybe those that weren't fully entrenched in it, and for those that have played it and have felt those emotions, how do you help them manage and maybe check those emotions a little bit in a game like this where it can maybe almost get, a little bit crazy?
Absolutely, and we've talked from the day I got here about playing with passion and not emotion, because if you play with emotion, you'll get yourself in trouble. When people start talking, the crowd gets in your face, and if you're emotional, you get yourself in trouble. When you're emotional, you make bad mistakes, 15-yard penalties, but playing with passion because you love the football game and you love the atmosphere and you love the challenge, that's what I need to make sure that our kids play with. And emotional will hurt your football team, and that's the last thing that we want to do is to hurt our brotherhood. So that's kind of the speech that I give them every single day.
Hey, Coach, Robbie with Fox 10.
Hey, Rob.
When the regular season obviously hasn't gone 100% according to plan up to this point, but how much can a good result on Friday, getting a win, do for this program, ending on a positive note and then carrying that momentum forward? In the offseason?
It's absolutely amazing that you can win one football game and almost half the season it will be forgotten, to tell you the truth. And what's the legacy of this 2022 class is to make sure that we carry over that Territorial Cup for 6 years, because it's never been done before. And so there's a lot of positives on that. Makes people forget a little bit about all the struggles that we've had in the previous weeks. But it's just like playing golf on the 18th hole. That's why sometimes they make it a par 5 so you birdie it and can come back the next day. And so just understanding that, and you forgot about the whole round that you shot 105. And so, but just making sure that we take care of this game, and it rides momentum into the next year. And it's a legacy for this class. They didn't win on Senior Day, and that's a bad taste in their mouth, but they've won the Territorial Cup. That is huge for them going forward from a memory standpoint.
Richard, Michelle, Nick, and Noah.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Richard.
Richard Sines, Fox 10, Robbie's personal assistant there. And first of all, 105 is my goal on the golf course. But, just, this is going to be your first game as the head coach in this game. I know you've been in a lot of big games, but what's the emotions going to be like for you personally heading into this game? And also seeing, kids on that other sideline that you're very familiar with, like Garrickson and so on.
Just sitting back and knowing that I'm going to be part of a great history in Arizona. That's huge for me. And when I walk on that field, just taking it all in, and then helping our kids understand that. But it's an honor, because there's a lot of great coaches before me, and there'll be a lot of great coaches after me that will play in this game. And for 100-some years, this game has been played. And so just to be on the sidelines with my football team is a huge feather in my cap, you can say, but just an honor for me to represent Arizona State. And coming away with that win would also be a huge honor, too.
Coach, obviously you were a high school coach here, and you know about this rivalry, but how important is it from a recruiting standpoint to be able to say, hey, we own those guys? I mean, does it matter or does it not matter in that kind of scheme of things?
Oh, absolutely it matters. I mean, you walk into the place, and especially if you're fighting with a kid, and their motto, it's personal. Well, it's personal to us, too. And, winning this football game gives us another notch from a recruiting standpoint that, it's just 6 years that we're winning this game. We're a better football team and program than they are. And so there's a lot of things that you can use in the recruiting speech that you can give, but it is huge. And especially when you want to win the Arizona battle of kids. And that's my goal, is to win and keep the best kids. And just having that in your speech, of course, is something that I think is a huge advantage.
Nick.
Sean, Nick King from 3TV CBS 5.
Yes, Nick.
The numbers weren't spectacular for Trenton on Saturday, which
Yes.
I know doesn't tell the whole story. What did you make of his performance on Saturday?
You know, I thought from a progression standpoint, I thought sometimes we came off too early from a progression standpoint. He's not 100% healthy as well. So, you know, I thought sometimes our footwork wasn't right in order to make those throws, and sometimes they're off. And a couple of times we're on that 3rd and 5 when we should have put the ball right on him and fall forward for a first down. But he's trying, and he's leading that team, and I thought he played pretty good. He needs to play a lot better this week in order for us to win.
Noah.
Hey, Noah.
You guys have faced a lot of good receiving cores this season, and Arizona, the fact that they have 3 who have been quite productive. What is like similar or different about that group? And you know, some players in the ASU secondary have sort of mentioned throughout the season they love to play man-to-man personnel. What is sort of the approach?
You know, they do have a 3-headed monster. You know, 2 of them have over 1,000 yards, and the other one has 600 some yards. And so, but they throw the ball a lot too, and so you'd imagine that. But they're great route runners. I think they're good athletes. I think that we're going to have our secondary is going to be up for a big challenge, and the way we can defend that is we can hopefully take up front and put pressure from the front 4 and 5. But it is going to be a huge challenge, and we have to make sure that we contain not only the quarterback but contain those receivers, because they're going to make plays, and they have been making plays the whole year.
And Luke.
Trent Bourget from Tucson, going against the enemy this week. Have you had any, maybe you haven't, but have you had any conversations with him about playing in his hometown against the enemy, but it's his hometown, just a funny coincidence?
I try not to bring it up to him because I don't want to put the added pressure on him, but he knows. I'll kind of walk by him. I said, hey, we're going to go downtown to your neck of the woods. And he was like, Coach, we're going to win. And so I kind of put a little nudges here and there with him, but he's a competitor. I know what it means to him to go down there and come away with a win. And so I won't have that conversation. I'll just give him a little teasing nudges out here and there during the week. But he'll be prepared and he'll be ready. Hey, Coach. Yeah, this could be the last game. We haven't had that talk yet. I'm going to go in and want to finish this season, and if the decision is made after this week, it's probably made after this week. But I'm going to go in as if I am the head coach in this game, and treat it with my players that way, and then we'll see what comes out at the end of it. But no, we haven't had that conversation, Jen.